Hi, folks. This is Jason Ray. I am here with Anne Marie Tracey. She leads our marketing solutions team at Paperless Parts. This is cutting through the noise where, honestly, we just try to get to brass tacks on things that this industry needs to hear, our customers need to hear, and we try to create value for you, like we always do, as quickly as possible. So we have about 40 minutes that we can talk, but we'll probably wrap this up sooner than that. So we're going to try to get you to some high level takeaways. So this is worth your time. Anne Marie, welcome.
Hi. Hey, Jason. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's awesome to have you here. And I think this is such a timely topic because there's this whole thing going on in the background right now called AI. And I think I think everyone's hearing about it. I think people are starting to wonder, like, what does this mean for my business? Manufacturing is always a little bit on the late adopter curve of new technologies.
Sure.
But I think there's an interesting angle here because, like every technology, manufacturers look at the technologies through the lens of what does this do on my shop floor?
Yes.
And I think that's a great lens to look at because, when you're a hammer, you're always looking for nails. But the reality is, I think AI is changing the game for marketing. And yeah, let's tell me, what are you
100%.
seeing?
It's maybe the biggest shift we've seen in marketing since social media kicked off or some other really big thing that changed in marketing. It's changing everything about the way people are absorbing information, how they're searching. All of their habits have changed. Mine have changed, and I'm sure if people are thinking about what they're doing in order to find what they're looking for, whether it's in manufacturing or even in just in their daily lives, what the tools that they're using and how those tools are providing answers and giving feedback is completely different than how it was just a few years ago.
Yeah, and I remember we started this marketing solutions offering at Paperless Parts, what, 7 years ago now? It's been a little while, and when we when we brought this to our customers, it was really more us getting pulled because folks were saying, "Well, we need more RFQs. Can you help us with our brand? We like your website." And at that time, we had written an article that talked about the 3 very easy things you can do that just, like, be present.
Mm.
Like, have a modern website. Like, it's kind of like back when I was in college, if you were, gonna go out on a date with someone and they didn't have a Facebook profile, it was like, person is sketchy, like, they're
Yep.
obviously not a legitimate person because they don't have a Facebook account, right? And I think it's the exact same thing with your website. Same thing is true with your LinkedIn profile. Like, if you
Mhm.
don't have a LinkedIn profile with a professional picture on it, like, I love people that fish, but you don't need your fish in your
Yep.
profile on LinkedIn. I'm sorry. Like,
Yep.
that's cool, but it's not Facebook. And just, like, very basic things you could do to level up your brand. And at that time, the barrier to entry was somewhat small. It was time, it was maybe a few $100 for, like, a Wix account, and it was free to go on LinkedIn. But what do you think AI is doing now to that bar?
It has lowered it completely. The idea that you can just put up a website and let it sit there, not updating it, not really keeping up with the times, not keeping up with the way search and discoverability has changed is that's just not going to cut it today. You have to make sure that your online presence is not just a static moment in time, which before that was fine. It was fine if you had a website and people could find you, but today your presence has to be ever changing. It has to be living and breathing along with your company and updating in the same way that you're updating your shop floor.
So you're telling me that it's not okay that I updated my website in 2020. I created a news page. I posted 3 articles on there, then got sick and tired of paying a person several $100 to post random articles on my website, and all of a sudden now, like, I've got it, there's a news page, but the last time someone posted on it was 5 years ago. So that doesn't look good when a buyer comes and
That
sees
is not
you.
It's not okay. It it's sends so many messages, even just subconsciously. If someone comes to your website and sees that the last time you updated it was 5 years ago, it's going to make them question what else on your website is not accurate. What else are you saying about your company that really isn't applicable anymore? So having a site, in some ways, having a news page that is old and outdated, that does more damage than not having one at all, because it just puts on display that you haven't updated your online presence since the last time you posted.
Yeah, I think that is such an important piece of advice, so, like, we put a stamp on that
Yeah.
right here. This is, like, key number 1. Like, you can actually do more damage than good with your website, and I think
100.
and I think a lot of folks don't understand that. They tend to think that the website doesn't matter, but that is still the biggest way. We talk to buyers almost every day now, hauling paperless parts, trying to find out how can they work with us, how do they, like, what shops do we work with? They buyers are always reaching out, and we always tell them, look, you got to go search the internet, find the websites, you can look at our case studies, whatever it is, but they go to websites all the time. That's what they do. And they're looking for basic things. Are they still in business? If you haven't updated your website in 5 years, they don't know if you're still in business, which also means when they call you, if you don't answer the phone, they don't know if you're still in business. Like, that is a little bit of a mind-blowing thing. The other thing that we hear from buyers is when they go to your website, they don't want to do business with the shop that is a single point of failure. So what I'm gonna say here is really important. Stop listing your equipment on your website. Do
Yes.
not list your machinery unless you have 10 plus of a specific machine, and even then, list it as a capability because the vast majority of buyers, they don't know what X machine can actually do. They don't know what tolerances it can hold. They don't understand what materials you work in, but they do know how to read. And when they read, you only have one of those machines. What that tells me as a buyer is, well, they're probably going to have slow lead times. Or,
What if
well,
that breaks down, right?
what if that breaks
What if that
down?
one breaks down?
Exactly.
Mhm.
Exactly. So, I, what I'm wondering is, so we basically outlined here the bar has gotten dramatically lower and the expectation has gotten significantly higher that you do well because what you just said, if you're not doing it, what else is not true? The question I go is one step further, which is, gosh, if they can't keep their website updated, are they, what are they doing in their facility? Like, are they using
What
modern
else?
technology? Am I getting the best pricing from that shop? Like, there's all kinds of questions then. Well, if they're not modern on their website, they're not modern in their production, they must not be the most efficient from pricing. Like, this is, like, fairly deductive reasoning, but it's I think it's how people think.
100%. And even it might not even be true, but ultimately, if that is what you're blasting on the internet of who you are and what you do, then it becomes the truth about your brand. So, taking a really serious look at how your brand is presented and being very, very honest with yourself is just so important. It needs to be something that is paid attention to. I have dealt with many, many shops that they say, "Well, we updated our site 5 years ago," and it unfortunately, it shows. It hasn't been touched since then, and the way that SEO and large language models like ChatGPT work is they're constantly looking for the most updated, newest, latest, and greatest information because they want to deliver a good experience to their users. You don't want to be left in the dust because you are outdated, especially if it's not even true about your brand, especially if what is being shown online isn't accurate.
So, we've established that this is something that is doable today. You've worked with a lot of shops. Why don't people do it? Like, where's the gap between Is it people just don't get it? They don't understand it? They don't think it's like, what's happening? Is this just like
I feel like I there's a number of reasons. I feel in some ways, and you talked about this a little bit before about manufacturing sometimes being a little bit behind in the curve. A lot of times, especially for businesses that have been around a long time where word of mouth has always worked, it's sort of this has always worked for us, so we're just going to keep doing what we've always done. And the way the market has changed, the way buyers have changed, the way that they conduct business has changed so dramatically that what used to work, it, it can't be your plan going forward anymore. You really have to update what used to work is not necessarily going to be what works in the future. So I often hear, well, we've always done it this way. But those are some dangerous words, because it's not always going to, you know, be successful on your end. Another big reason why I find businesses do not, take advantage of their brand and their marketing and their website is it's bandwidth. Even if shop owners or sales leaders have the best of intentions, ultimately, if someone doesn't own it, it's going to keep falling down everybody's priority list, and it's not because they don't care, it's not because they don't find it valuable, but if no one owns it and owns the consistency of it, it's going to constantly slip, and when it slips, eventually it just stops happening, and that's what I see a lot. Um, the third reason I think is just confidence or just feeling like they have the know-how to market effectively. And that's understandable. If you're a shop owner, maybe you were an engineer by trade or whatever you may have studied and brought you to your place in the shop, but marketing is nuanced and marketing is a skill. And if you don't feel like you have the skill set to do it effectively, maybe it's not something you're confident to jump into.
yeah, and that's, I I think you I think you hit the nail on the head. Everybody is busy right now,
So busy.
and the ownership lack of ownership, it just kinda becomes the hot potato that gets kicked around. That's, I think very similar to we're reading the other day that supply chain management is finally in a CEO's top 5 for the big industrial companies. And for the last decade or so, it has actually been below the top 5. So, as long as it works, don't mess with it, which has really been interesting. And I'm starting to see and believe, especially with how the world is evolving, very analogous to marketing and your brand positioning. It's probably below the top 5 priorities, but I think you've seen the impact with the customers you've worked with that you can actually make a big difference. And I think I'd love for you to touch on this because I wanna help folks understand why it needs to move up as a priority for them, especially in the next 5 years are going to be probably gangbusters for manufacturing, which tells me if your business is not ready and you're not out there and you're not communicating your capabilities, you're SOL. So, can you talk a little bit about what it means to move that up the priority list, what the impact of that is? And also, you said the word consistency, and I think this is the thing that people miss when it comes to brand and marketing. They think it's like one shot, one kill, like whatever analogy you want to use, and it's not. This is like this is like Novocaine. Like, you gotta keep doing it, and like, it just keeps going. It's like, can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely, and you are spot on, Jason. Marketing is not a first of all, it's not one size fits all. It's not set it and forget it. It's not a box you check that you walk away from. Strong, effective marketing is consistent. It is strategic. It is ever evolving. It's not something that you just do once and walk away from. It's not something that you just have someone manage and never look at. So I think some of the big issues that I see in marketing today that I always want to be fixing for our customers. One of the big ones is vagueness. Um, Often I will see people who want to be somebody to everybody, and they want to make sure that they're kind of capturing every imaginable lead out there, but ultimately, if you're vague, then nobody really knows who you are, what you specialize in, or how you could really partner with them. So, making sure that you're being very clear about who you are, who you serve, where you shine is so incredibly important, and you can't just say it once. If you say it once and 95% of your target audience misses that, well, then 95% of your target audience didn't hear it. And that's why marketing needs to be something that is consistent, kind of cared for and aligned with your company goals at all times. And that's one of the reasons why our programs that we put together with our customers are very much based on that consistency of wanting to stay very aligned with where your business is headed and hitting those consistent marks. So if you post something, you have to admit not everybody's going to see it. But if you post 20 things, well, then you're going to be more likely to hit your target audience.
You just said so many really impactful things. So I wanna break this down for a second. So first, I think you hit on a concept, and I don't know that we are coining this term, but we're definitely gonna keep using this term, and it's ideal part profile. So at Paperless Parts, we made the mistake very early in our business of not having an ideal customer profile, which is a concept for software companies. And when you go out and you sell to every customer under the sun that does everything under the sun, that has all different types of complexity, well, the spectrum of feedback you get and the spectrum of demands and the nuance to doing business with that customer, the non-recurring engineering just compounds in complexity dramatically. And we took that on as a business and we said, okay, we got to get really focused here. Like, we're not going to go sell to chem etch, you know, electronics manufacturers. Like, that's can we make them successful? Yes, but is that juice worth the squeeze? And I think that's what something that we preach to our customers is you gotta understand what your ideal part profile is, and then you have to scream about it. And the
Mhm.
customers that specialize, the big shops, the really big shops that we see get big or go from being, 5,000,000 to 10 to 20, they are so disciplined and they send more no quotes than customers who don't. The biggest
Yeah,
mistake and this correlates so much with what's going on with our product development and our platform because we've released requirements review. It's all about triaging the work that's coming in to make sure that it meets your ideal part profile. Because if you start to move outside of that, we see this all the time. Instead of no quoting, we'll see customers go and just like make it really expensive. If they want it, we'll figure out how to make it. No, that is not the right approach. That's like going on your website and marketing and saying, we do everything for everybody. Come be, we're a job shop. We can hold the tightest possible time. No, you don't have to do that. And it actually doesn't make you better. I think it hurts at a systemic level. Really, really
100%.
does.
We've been working with some of our clients that we've been working with in marketing, 5, 6 years. Their part profile has changed, and that's okay. But as long as you are changing your marketing along with it and trying to attract what you're trying to do, because your business is evolving, your part profiles might be evolving, your quantities might be evolving, your industries might be evolving, your certifications might be evolving. There's so many things that change about a business over time. And your online presence, your marketing, your messaging, everything about your business has to change along with that.
It's such an important point. I think people go out, they buy new equipment, they hire new people, they take on new software, and they never update that presence to make sure that the market understands those investments. And we see customers go out and they'll buy a piece of equipment for a specific job with no real intention of using that piece of equipment as a key tool in their shop. Like the number of times we see customers buy wire EDM machines for that one job that makes it worth it and then never market the capability, it's mind blowing to me. It's absolutely incredible. Um, and I think this points us
I
to
see
a
it
really
all the
good
time,
place. Yeah. Go
Sorry.
go ahead. No, please.
I was just gonna say I see this all the time, Jason. And I I recognize that it's very unintentional, and that's what I think is going to be important for shops moving forward is that some of this I unintentionally, they're not intentionally not adding their equipment. It's not intentional that they're ignoring something that they should be marketing, but bringing that intentionality to your marketing is what is going to help differentiate people. I'll have a customer come in and then I'll mention what's on their website and I often get, "Oh, I didn't even know that was on there," or, "Oh, that's old." And how you are marketing your shop and how you are presenting your brand and your business, it can't be unintentional anymore. It has to be very strategic, very thought out. And if you need help to do that, well, then you need help. But you can't just let it roll anymore. You can't just cross your fingers that it's going to be okay. It's just not the world we're living in.
Yeah, I we have a board member, my co-founder, Jay Jacobs, who taught me at the very beginning of our business. He said, "The most intentional person in every situation wins." And being intentional about your approach to communicating, even something like no quoting, it's intentional and communicating when you no quote why something does not fit ideally for your business. That's that's the key to winning. I really think it does. So let's bring it home for folks. Everything we talked about, it sounds like there's almost like a layer cake of, almost like death by a thousand cuts, little, very impactful improvements that folks can make that start to add up to what I would call branded. Like you're actually now a brand, or you're actually now a presence. Can you talk about like what is this like like a heroic lift, or is this about systematically eliminating these small cuts?
It's more of a systematic attack. Table stakes is your website should be updated. Table stakes is you have a LinkedIn account. Table stakes is you own your Google business profile. Those are just no-brainers. Those should absolutely be happening. There's really no excuse not to. But there's so many other elements of your brand that are not huge lifts. It's not necessarily a large overhaul, but it's being, again, I'm gonna keep saying intentional, but intentionally thinking about how other parts of your business or other elements of how you do business impact your brand. A lot of it has to do with your processes. Are you easy to do business with? Are you quick to respond? Do you have strong follow-up habits? Are you responsive even when the news you might have to deliver isn't the best news? But being a responsive brand and being easy to reach and easy to get information from, that all speaks to who your business is. I know that's, I'm sure, something related to, to quote turnaround. But it's not only getting a quote fast, it's thinking about how clear it is, how confident you are in it, and 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 just how you teach your customers to interact with you and how you interact with them speaks volumes. Another
You
really
said
big oh, sorry.
no. Go ahead. Keep going. You're on a roll.
Other things that you might not be thinking about that really, really impact your brand are the companies that you partner with. When I was younger, I always used to hear, my parents say, "You could be guilty by association for the company you keep," but in many ways now we're looking at it from a brand perspective of you could be trusted by association.
Go ahead.
You have to consider the company that your brand keeps because these are connections that impact who you are. It's the platforms you use, the vendors that you vet, the associations that you are part of. All of that has to do with your brand. It has to do with the events you attend. Are you trying to impact the industry? Are you going to trade shows? Are you inviting people into your shop even and showing it off? And Jason, I'm sure you could speak to this as someone who knows the industry inside and out. I feel like it used to be something that no one would ever let anyone into their shop. You were going to be giving up your trade secrets. And now I find the strongest brands are showing off it because they're on the cutting edge and they want to show off and teach and show the rest of the industry how it's done. There's been a little bit of a flip.
Yeah, your shop floor is no longer a place to hide. It's a place to
Mhm.
flex. Like, it's an asset. If you choose to use it however you will, but the shops that use their shop floor as an asset to go out and show people why they're the best business to work with, it speaks volumes. It absolutely speaks volumes. It's, yeah, I think you hit on one other point too, which I do think that being responsive is so critical,
Mm.
and I just intentional about being responsive. So I keep coming back to no quotes. If it takes you 5 days to no quote something because you see it and you're like, not that important, or don't know that customer, or I'll get to that when I get to that, rather than doing it right away, it sends a really bad message.
Maybe that particular part wasn't the right fit for you, but it will help them learn in the future what might be the right fit for you. And if you responded quickly, then you already told them, well, look at how responsive I am. Look at how clear I am. Look at how honest I am.
Yeah, you nailed it. You absolutely nailed it. There's no question about it. You absolutely nailed it. Anne Marie, anything else you want to leave folks with here? Cutting through the noise, there's a lot out there about AI and marketing and whether you should be doing it, where you should be, and should you be spending money on search engine optimization and Google reviews and whatever else. Like any last points that you want to land with folks so that they have a some solid takeaways.
I think at the end of the day, it's very important for you to know that your brand isn't just your logo or even just your website anymore. It is the sum of every single interaction, every single signal that your company puts out, every message, every impression that you leave behind. And from how you quote to how you follow up to who you align with to the way you talk about your business online, the stories you share. So, if you want to move ahead in 2026 and beyond in the age of AI, you have to think about your brand as a living, breathing thing and make sure that you're constantly and consistently looking at it with fresh eyes and making sure that it's doing right by you in all the ways that it can. You are never going to be able to control everything about your brand, but it is important that you can take the time and the effort or enlist help to control what you can control. You want to make sure that you are positively shining the right light on your company. And if you need help to do that, then prioritizing that as a company is something that I think is just going to be almost again table stakes moving forward. It's not something that can be ignored anymore in manufacturing. It has to be deliberate and intentional.
That is very well said. Folks, it's garbage in, garbage out. If you put garbage out, you're gonna get garbage in, and your profitability is gonna be garbage. So, we do not want any of that, and we're here to help you. So hey, folks, if you have questions, you wanna reach out, you can always get me, Jason at paperlessparts.com. You can also reach out to our team if you wanna chat with Anne Marie to understand our marketing solutions offering. But I think there's also a lot of steps that you guys can take on your own if if you can find a way to move it up on your priorities, and I think it needs to be one. So, Anne Marie, thanks so much for taking the time to join me, and, folks, we hope this was a valuable use of your time. Have a great day. This is Cutting Through the Noise.